So, dear participants, so today we'll begin our next session, session 6. That is, the topic is climate risk for the infrastructure, and we'll be taking the session by the Mr. Vignesh sir. And sir, if you allow, like if you're ready, I will just quickly I'll start the introduction. Then you will start, sir, from here.
Sure.
Yeah. So, dear participants, so we are happy that Vignesh sir has accepted our invitation. So, he is a founder and the CEO of Thazhal Geospatial Analytics, and having established in the company in the 2021 with a mission to solve environmental and governance challenges through space for sustainability. An alumnus of the Indian Institute of Remote Sensing, IIRS, ISRO, and the University of Twente, Netherlands, he holds a specialized background in geoinformation science and earth observation. So before launching the Thazhal, Vignesh sir has gained critical industry experience as product manager and Satyut Analytics, where he led the development of automated farm scale data delivery system and flood detection tool. His expertise spans synthetic aperture radar and remote sensing and geospatial AI, and he has also authored the research on diverse topics, including cultural heritage monitoring and anchor word and marine biodiversity in the Indian Ocean. So, under his leadership, Thazhal has evolved from a small group of researchers now into a recognized space tech startup providing the high precision intelligence for water management and climate resilience. So, thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. Over to you, sir.
It's my pleasure, sir. Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you for giving a brief.
Please share your screen. Please share your screen.
Sir, it is saying I can't able to share the screen as
now you
I'm
please
not
check 1 second, sir.
Sure. Is it visible, sir?
No. Yeah, now it's visible. Please make it a full screen.
Now is it visible?
Yes.
Great.
Yes. Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Thank you so much for the brief introduction, sir. And it's a pleasure to be being part of this event. I'm Vignesh Kandasamy, founder of Thazhal Geospatial Analytics. I will give a brief, and this is on a climate risk for infrastructures. As an startup entrepreneur, this presentation will be more like the whole of climate risk and what we are trying to do on climate and what's the gap is there in the global ecosystem for the climate. So it won't be on more like technical, but rather it'll be on the entire development side. So as a company, we are providing geospatial services and climate risk information. We work with banks, we work with power companies, we work with government and NGOs for nature-based solutions. We got Best Geospatial Startup Award from IIT Bombay for FOSIS. We work with Department of Science and Technology. We work with banks. We have signed an MOU with NIT Calicut. And this is the background of what we did. Coming back to the topic of climate risk. Very predominantly climate, we all know climate is at extreme at some point and how that interacts with infrastructure. So the one concern is like the aging infrastructure. It says a bridge that has been constructed in 1960. It's been almost 60 years. And that accountability of aging infrastructure throughout the globe is not taken at the right time. So that is a breaking point for the infrastructures. Many infrastructure that is being ports or airports that being laid before, whether it is adhered to the recent climate risk, that is the major extremes. And to bridge this gap, lots of investment is necessary, and that investment is very high. And to make that investment from the government or from the companies, institutional investors, very big institutions, are backing climate risk scores, climate assessment, so that their amount will not be eradicated due to a single extreme event. This is a whole cycle. So defining the climate risk hazards, everybody knows. Yes, hazard is a single physical force that hits the particular area. Says with respect to infrastructure, it hits a particular area. And exposure is how much that particular bridge is being exposed, and vulnerability is what is the breaking point of that bridge. So the theoretical framework is risk is with respect to asset attribute and climate stimulus, we find the risk. So whether it is exposure, hazard, or vulnerability, the combination is what the risk is. IPCC is like IPCC the Climate Change Council has brought the framework, and with that framework, this being laid. Says example, a hazard is taken. Says hazard with respect to severe precipitation deficit. So throughout the globe, what are the precipitation is there, and with that precipitation deficit, the exposure has been mentioned. Exposure of population or crop stress or livestock. And with that, include the vulnerability. How much the socioeconomic factor is there, infrastructure age is there. If we combine these things, we get the risk. With respect to agriculture, we get a drought risk and which area will be severely hit. This particular layer of information is very crucial for industries, from banking to government agencies. It is very, 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 very crucial. So how to define these risk? So these categories, who brought it first? It is like some of the group of volunteer organization they started. Then it slowly turned into regulatory agencies. So Task Force for Climate Related Financial Disclosures. It's a voluntary organization started in 2015, I think so. So they bought a pillar for the framework. Governance, any particular organization governance should disclose their framework. It is a disclosure. So why I will let you know why I'm mentioning this, because as a company, when any company intervene in climate risk space, academia is different, but if an company is intervening in the climate risk space, there is something that we need to deliver to the organization so that they get value out of it. So this task force is making a regulatory mandate, and this mandate for all the organization is what brought in. So if say a particular company is not letting the other organizations know, not letting the regulators knows about their climate strategies or climate risk management, there is a big pitfall. For an example, says Google. Google has lots of data centers. So Google is not telling by 2050, says by 2050, the lots of extreme heat is there and the data center is getting affected. They should open up, they should disclose outside what all they are going to do for that particular event, extreme event for their data centers. So this framework was given by these kinds of voluntary organization. Now it is being implemented as a regulatory, some of being implemented as a regulatory. So with respect to risk, there are two types of risk generally be taken: physical risk or transition risk. Many organizations try to give in physical risk space, where any damages that has been directly found. So physical risk is something that hinders that actual infrastructures, either it is electricity failure, either the wire get burned out, or any concrete that is being wiped out because of flood, or steel corrosion. Transition risk is something that, because of if an organization is applying some policies, and because of that policies, the organization reputation is being taken out, what the organization will do. So there's a risk involved from implementing some policies in an organization or in a governance. That transition risk was taken into account. So it can be a carbon taxation. In India, carbon is coming up. So what is the risk involved in taking it in 10 years or 5 years? That need to be accounted. So that is transition risk comes into play. So the climate related risk comes into two major category: physical risk and transition risk. Physical is again break into acute and chronic. Acute is a severe event, suddenly comes and it wipes out. Chronic is a long-term event, like sea level rise, slowly, steadily it hinders a particular area. With respect to transition, it is either policy, market, or reputation that hinders that particular area. So our target will be mainly on physical risk. So with respect to physical risk, cyclone, tropical cyclone or wildfires, this how it affects. So we as a company, we created a product called Climate Audit. So what it does is, like, for an energy companies or real estate organization, they can check if any particular area, how much these risk will be there and how the asset will get depreciated based on that risk. So if once in a 25 years rainfall comes or flood comes in the particular area, how that particular flood offers that particular infrastructure. If extreme flood comes, what is the nature of the infrastructure? Asset depreciation. So this information, how it helps companies is it is a value of depreciation. So they comes to know how the portfolio risk is there. Either investors like real estate organization or energy companies. Energy companies predominantly takes it because says flash flood or if a huge flood comes in Tamil Nadu, there's a 2 years back a flood comes in 2023, I guess. So it affects lots of energy, solar energy land. So that particular land get affected, and 3 crores to 4 crores of solar farms was affected. So it is a huge investment for the company. So they want to know whether that land was prone for such a flood, and if the flood comes, at what height it comes, and how they want to overcome it. So that is the nature of company giving to an organization. So with respect to chronic hazards, if it is a sea level rise, if a slow sea level rise happens, slowly the sea level is getting raised. Says lots of hospitality industries, hotels was there in lots of areas. How this hotel industry was getting affected due to sea level. So we are taking a study with respect to Tamil Nadu coast, where how much number of hotels was there, and each hotels, what is the risk involved with respect to sea level around. So we took only one layers of risk, and in future how the risk will be there. So what mitigation they need to take it up. So with respect to chronic sea level, persistent heat wave is very high. Slowly it increasing. Permafrost, in some cases we are not bothered about it, but there is another slow motion of chronic hazard is there, that is land deformation. Land deformation is generally not taken as a direct hazard because it is a slow movement of land. But in a place where extreme water was pumped out, lots of infrastructures get damaged. So that is also accountable in many of our delivery. So when these hazards was taken into account, says there is a effect. So climate is a function. If one incident happens, it leads to another, and finally the results was very much different from what was happened. Says a drought happened, and with respect to drought, a particular area was affected. The harvest loss is there. So if the harvest loss is there, food disruption will be there. The disruption of shipping will be there. Food disruption will be there. Says in the other side, a flash flood happens, and the railway get damaged, line get damaged. Again, the food disruption is there. Now the food price is raised up. So one particular event started, and the cascading effect was compounded again. So this is what happening throughout the globe. In Europe, one side of Europe was droughted, other side of Europe was getting flooded. So as a supply chain, the whole of supply chain network was affected. So most of the climate is on cascading or compounding effect. One event leads to other, and the result was very much vulnerable. Within a global scale, says Southeast Asia, lots of ports was there because of shipments, and these ports are being severely under risk with respect to sea level rise and typhoon. So either is Singapore, Manila, or the coast of India. So this is being a predominant problem. With respect to US, it is on, if any hurricane comes, it is on power infrastructure. The power infrastructure was completely taken out. Last 2 to 3 years, this was the case. In Africa, so Africa, as a developing country, they are developing very rapidly. Due to the rapid urbanization, the drainage was blocked away. So flash flood was very common cases in that particular area. So throughout the globe, different scenario was seen. So this is a global climate risk. A company 142, I think so, they created this. In India, it is on flooding. In Middle East, it is on heat stress. In other part, it is on wildfire. So throughout the globe, the climate is very different, and the climate risk is very different. So that risk, how as a organization we want to take in account. Sorry. So a one regional specific model will not solve the global phenomenon. So as a company, what we try to do is like either we try to grab a market of says we have a good flooding results. We take which area has a flood, high vulnerability due to flood. We target that particular area. And other area we target where the lucrative market is there because of the infrastructure. So this is how we create that particular target, and we try to go to that particular area based on the regional based models and what is the availability of the model. I have listed down some of the sectoral analysis. Says how each of that particular asset is being affected. So based on that affected, how the infrastructure is getting affected basically. So says US with respect to a cascading effect in 2024, two cyclone was hit at the US coast, and this cyclone leads to one major problem. The casualty was happened, lots of infrastructure was taken away, but the problem was different. Due to heavy rain, landslide was happened, and due to that, high voltage transmission line was wiped out and power optic cables was taken out. This is a pillar of infrastructures, high voltage lines and fiber optic. Because of that, obviously high voltage line was taken out. There's a blockage will be there. Fiber optics, there's a digital blockage will be there. But what they didn't expect is like loss of power for water treatment plant. So if water treatment plant was shut down, then there's a lots of mismanagement will be there in the ground because of supply of water, and the health infrastructure is getting affected. So the cascading effect was seen throughout because of one event. This is the particular hurricane event, and there is more than 4.5 million customers for the with respect to power was affected, and we can able to provide such a scenarios, but the cascading effect is the one that is going as an organization that helps to sell that particular product. Second, as a company, other side as a governance, it is the one that is they're very much looking for. Nowadays, government has lots of forecast, lots of data on which part of the area that getting affected. But what is the cascading effect that going to bring up? That is the real gap that is it still need to be given. And I will let you know about the other gaps that as a company we generally when we reach, what are the gaps are there with respect to climate risk. This is with respect to India, recent heat wave of 24-25. So in Delhi, NCR or the north area, the heat was very extreme. So more than 50 degrees Celsius was recorded. So due to that, thermal derating was happened. Thermal deratings when a power line was there, any power instrument, thermal derating is like we intentionally reduce the outflow of the power. So the temperature was very high. Due to the temperature highness, the electricity power lines, it has an optimal temperature range. It was exceeded. So it is getting hotter. So we couldn't able to transfer lots of power. So intentionally government tried to reduce the power supply. So if the power supply was slowed down, then lots of area electricity will be slowed down. Electricity could be getting off in particular region. This is where happened. The scenario is like it happened where all the people turns off the ACs, cooling agents, because it is summer, very hot summer, where all the appliances was up, cooling appliance was up, and on the other hand, a thermal derating was happening. So it is very extreme events happening, and at the fundamental ground, people are one side, the demand is very high, other side they couldn't able to send the demand. So this is what happening at the real-time scenarios. With respect to UK, where in 2024 the heat is very high. Because of the heat, the rail line track was getting bulged because of physical properties. But the problem is here is like, if they change the island to extreme temperature, says India has some, we have about 40 to 45 degrees Celsius usually. So in that cases, if they are changing to that extreme temperature lines, they couldn't able to handle at other extreme winters. So this is the actual problem they faced. With respect to Rio de Janeiro, where flooding was happened, so there are lots of casualty happened, but this flood is different. There are lots of mud was taken. So because of that, the water entered in lots of area and sheer volume of mud was taken, and it entered into the water treatment plant. Because of the water treatment was clogged with respect to the mud, a functional failure of water treatment was happened. So the actual water was can't be able to given to the particular households. So this is a functional failure of the government. So they couldn't able to do anything. So there's not lots of potable water. They didn't plan for it. So this is a gap. The cascading effect because of one event, we generally provide a risk with respect to the infrastructure or with respect to the particular event. But what if the water supply department itself has affected this because of this? We generally tell what is the affection of the infrastructure, but the cascading effect is one that people generally leave it. This is with respect to Middle East, where in the right side, there's a map on data centers. So Middle East has lots of data centers. And these data centers, Saudi has 16, Iran has 20, Oman 15. In extreme summer, more than 50 degrees Celsius, 51 degrees Celsius, this particular data centers need to be get cooled. The nominal, it will be like 40 to 45 degrees Celsius, 50. If it is above 50, power usage efficiency should be increased. To increase that, lots of cooling mechanisms should be taken. On the other hand, the digital services should be up always. So data centers couldn't be able to pop up the extreme event. So one side, the power efficiency should be increased, and lots of alert system was throwing things. So this was an actual event that was recorded. So whatever I have shown you, because the event, it was recorded, and some of the news article was taken and into account. So because of these kind of extreme event, losses was there, and the data centers need to stop the services or slow down the digital services, and it affects their revenue. If it affects the revenue, it should be reported to the regulator. If, say, for example, many of these data centers are in listed companies, they need to be known this before, because each of the month it need to be recorded. So whatever I have shown before is on event and what's happening on the globally and why it is very important. And with respect to climate risk datasets, lots of model is available. Either it is CM6 or CM7. It is on global scale of 25 kilometer grid. In other side, lots of satellite data is available where the flooding was taken. We can take the datasets. In other side is on field level information. Lots of government organizations provide the field level information. Some local field level. These should be integrated to have a good regional specific models. In many cases, it is on 25 kilometer grid. With 25 kilometer grid, we can't able to tell how a particular building is get affected or a particular area is being affected. Now people are downscaled to 1 kilometer grid. But even in 1 kilometer grid of information, it is very hard to sell it out. We can able to predict state, how the state is getting affected. But as a fundamental business, it is very hard to give it to the other party, because we can't be able to tell individual level, asset level. So we can able to downscale some of these. I'm not going in depth to any of the downscale models or measurement. This is overview of whatever it is being known. So global models can be downscaled to regional models. Nowadays we can able to downscale to 500 meters in some cases, but even that need to be reduced further so that an asset level measurement can be given. many cases it is not required to tell at a state level or for a portfolio level, but today it is not necessary, but in next 3 years it is very much, because the assets insurance agencies is looking for it. So what is the general gap? The first general gap is on resolution. A asset level infrastructure needs a more higher resolution climate scenarios. Second, a very fundamental, any infrastructure, it is not a static. The infrastructure is getting de-aged. That is also need to be taken into account. Many times we are not taking it infrastructure as a de-aging phenomenon, because we can't able to get all the infrastructures until we go to the fleet. So in some cases, what we do is we ask our client itself to tell about the infrastructures properties, and we try to depreciate that. So without that information, it is very hard to create a financial model over to the climate information. So this is an actual gap that is being shown. Thirdly, most of the companies are giving climate risk as a range or as a variables, whether it's likely hit or likely severe, but it is none on a particular predominant score. Why score is important is like, if there is a range, how we can able to depreciate it? It is very hard to depreciate. If we are still telling the infrastructure is good, average, bad, the depreciation phenomenon is again tedious. It is like a probability, but not very specific. But it is very hard to give climate risk at a score, because how we quantify that as a score is again a tedious. So there's a lots of research gap on taking the climate risk into a score. So this is where academia can able to step in and bridge that gap on converting the climate risk into a proper score, not an range, but a proper score kind of environment. If the score was taken, the score can be able to help some organizations to depreciate the assets values. Secondly, field level instrument. So many of the organization now is giving hyper-local weather stations information. So in India, Mumbai-based organization or Orissa-based organization, many of the organization are working on hyper-local weather stations. So the weather station was placed, and with that, the information is taken, and that will be a wealth of informations to work on climate-related informations. With respect to INSAR, where we can able to provide regular monitoring of INSAR-based infrastructure monitoring, how the particular land was moving up and down. Land is a homogeneous phenomenon where it moves slowly up and down. How much it is moving down, how much moving up, that we can able to correlate. If it was very abnormal, the infrastructure will be get cracked and will be damaged. In some of the villages of Uttarakhand, this phenomenon was seen, and the roads and buildings was completely cracked. And field level sensors can be placed and extract lots of information other than interferometer, other than deformations too. So the gap is where many of the organizations on climate models, and the model alone with that they are giving on satellite data, field level informations, and integrated automatic risk is being where the actual 360 degree of climate risk is not given. So some of the organizations working on it, not all the organizations. So this is where an integrated approach helps to determine the climate of that particular area, and the particular infrastructure damages can be, infrastructure risk can be shown. So this is a holistic approach where it helps any insurance organization to reliably get this information. So this is a complete framework. Bits and pieces was available, but not the complete model with respect to satellite model, field, and from the particular organizations. So whatever I have talked about is on risk and data sets. Nowadays, many of our customers is looking on adaptations and mitigations. They are mentioning one clean thing is like, okay, risk is fine. How we should convince our customers? If we are telling a risk, or we are trying to give risk with respect to energy companies, we are trying to give risk with respect to organization for real estates. But what they are predominantly asking, like, what is the adaptation measures we need to look for? if any particular infrastructure was known. Says yeah, big bridges was there. What is the adaptation measures for the bridge you will suggest? So list of adaptation technique was given by some of the frameworks organizations. Either it is flexible payment or seawall resaline project, or thermal resistant alloys need to be given for particular higher temperature. So why I'm mentioning here is like climate risk scores is not only the endpoint. If it is a the whole project life cycle, adaptations plays the very higher roles. And adaptation with respect to green infrastructure solutions, where nature-based solution is the very higher thing, where spawn cities, many of the government urban area started spawn cities. Throughout India, mangroves was given for storm surge. In Tamil Nadu coast, mangroves investment was very higher from the government to stop the storm surge. So from the development banks, from ADB or German Development Bank, they fund such a project because if storm surge was stopped, the infrastructure loss can be reduced. So it is a cascading effect can be reduced based on the nature-based solutions. So it is being promoted throughout the world from the development banks, from the very bank that gives up finance to the government. And urban forestry, it is for cooling the cities. So either it is adaptation, now comes to financial frameworks. Financial institution, either it is insurance companies or development organizations or general banks, they comes with some pure policies where green bonds, any nature-based solutions or with respect to climate linked sustainable solution, this bond amount will be pledged for that particular area. Sustainably linked loans, if in any particular cities was getting a loan from that particular agencies, that key performance metrics with respect to resilience activities will be taken and the loan amount interest rate will be decreased. If a municipality is looking to get amount from, says, German Development Bank for a particular resilient activities for a climate, says the coast of Thoothukudi for mangrove plantation with respect to storm surge, that particular investment will be the interest rate will be reduced. So this is how the banks or the financial institution is promoting such an activities so that everybody will be on climate related resilience in the same page. So uh, why it is very important is like, says insurance organization, there is a traditional insurance organization is like any asset any damage happen, they try to give the amount for that particular damages. Based, they goes to the field, they check the infrastructure damage and they let the organization knows how much they need to pay out. This is because they need to verify on the ground. Now the problem comes is like, while it goes to verification, we say the damage is so and so, the insurance will claim so and so, and it is slower, and the payment will not come at a very crucial time when the organization needs. So the insurance organization is predominantly on that area. Insurance is one where climate is hinders the most because their business is on that. Because if any incident happens, they need to pay out to the organization. So now insurance is slowly evolving to a parametric insurance where if any particular event happened, says a solar farm was placed on the coast of Tamil Nadu where a flooding happened and extreme rainfall happened and the wind was very high. Because of that, the particular area was flooded at a so and so height. Now, in the parametric insurance, no one need to go to field. They can able to trigger their payment, the capital of what they can able to give on that type of parameter. So if extreme rainfall falls and if a flood of such an height was started, the parametric insurance directly pay to that particular organization. How that greatly helps is like, it is rapid payment. So if that particular area was affected, the particular organization get the amount instantly and they can pay it for the capital of solar wiped out. They can order the solar panel and they can able to place it, and their business will be protected. So the actual insurance, the time delay, it hits the business heavily. So the time delay is a factor that hits the business heavily. With parametric insurance, that will be reduced. So this is widely adapted. So Tamil Nadu government has recently mentioned on parametric insurance to be taken in a wider area. Throughout the country, all the state governments is trying to adapt the parametric insurance. Crop loss parametric insurance was widely adapted. Lots of insurance organization was giving out. So there is a high scope for working on these areas. So the framework was initially set by community development. Now this is where the regulatory comes slowly. So it was started in 2015 or 2010. Slowly it was taken into a regulatory framework. Slowly it came to a regulation where either it is EU taxonomy or Indian SEBI or SEC in US. What they try to do is like, says any company who is listed companies, they first started with the listed companies, they need to show their disclosures of how they are working with climate, how they are going to work on adaptation of the climate, what all the asset is there, and how the asset will perform in the extreme scenarios, different extreme scenarios. Why this is the area where it get interesting. Is like, it is very hard to convince any organization to adapt to climate unless the climate awareness is very high. People have the climate awareness very high, but how they get this kinds of data set into a regular business, it is very hard unless their business is disrupted. But if the regulation comes, this climate risk information will slowly started to taken as a mandatory information for all the business organization. Says any manufacturing in India, RBI has mandate where any manufacturing industries in India need to show their climate risk of that particular area. So it is a welcoming area where regulation comes, and with that regulation, how that particular area was affected. And every organization try to adapt to this regulation. So it will be a compliance, direct compliance comes in. So how to calculate, says any particular industry comes in and they try to adapt, they got the climate information and we try to give the climate score. But they were again asking, we want to do, okay, climate, if there's a risk is there, okay, we want to overcome that with some adaptation or resilience work. What is the benefit of it? So nowadays, all the organizations, apart from the risk, they are moving to resilience. So if so-and-so adaptation was taken, what is the benefit will be, for the company will be there. So this is where the work slowly moved away from normal model to show the risk to score to financial depreciation, now financial depreciation to adaptation, and adaptation to ROI. So that transition was slower because the adaptation was getting increased. Basically, the regulation comes in and lots of organization was getting adapted and they want to know, okay, the risk is there. Everybody knows the risk. What is the adaptation need to be done? If the adaptation is a cost, what is the ROI? Because that is a business. They put the adaptation measures. If the risk was coming again, business won't sustain. So what is an ROI? So to calculate ROI, some of the basic assessment is like, what is the avoided loss and what is the cost benefit if it was taken, and what is the intervention. So this is a general formula. I'll show you with an example. Say a coastal highway, it is affected with a storm, and engineering project is mentioned about 10 million for resilience. So they are elevating the structures, tracking the drains, and making the barriers for $10 million. It's an assumption. And the climate projection is on 40% probability in next 25 years. The damage will be on $50 million. So we have intervention cost where to make an intervention, it's $10 million is going to come. And we can able to calculate the avoided loss based on the next 25 years in $50 million. If the damage is 40% for next 25 years, it is 20 million. So the avoided loss is 20 million. Now with avoided loss plus the cost benefit minus the intervention, now we get the ROAS is 150%. When we tell the companies based on the ROI of what they want to invest and the return of investment, now company like to think about the future. Okay, the business is getting improved, safer, and the return will be higher. So this is what the businesses today is looking on. I'm giving this presentation is more on global perspective rather than core technical, because as an organization, as a business side, as a startup, climate risk is not only on giving the risk scores, it is slowly transitioning to other area because of the regulation. All the regulatory organization is getting adapted to it. So this is a global startup landscape for climate risk. Climate risk is basically looking on two areas as a startup, either as a bank or asset managers. So this is where people goes to give the information. Insurance is the main thing. It's again a financial side. So this is a fundamental difference. And such global or many of this organization in some of the organization 4 to 7, the previous map, what I have shown you before, it is 4 to 7. So this is a fundamental division of startup that is giving for organization. Why it's a fundamental difference is like the organization, the back scores is similar, but how they can able to leverage the market is slightly different. So data sets, model, and with respect to model, whether they want to look for the global phenomenon or they want to go for regionalized phenomenon, that defines the most. So this is again a global landscape. TerraWatch, if people knows TerraWatch, well and good. If not, please watch TerraWatch. TerraWatch is a very good platform where we can able to check lots of what's happening throughout the globe with respect to climate or earth observation. So these are the organizations that is building verticals with respect to climate. They have satellites. They have mostly the people are on satellite side. Some are modeled. Some integrate with respect to field sensors and with respect to model. Here it is mostly on earth observation. And so why I have shown this is like there are lots of data available with respect to the climate. Each of these organization somewhere or other is giving on climate related activities, and that has a very high potential with respect to information availability. So previously the information is a very big gap. Now the information with various organizations was available, and that can be utilized. Very fundamentally on our topic on climate risk with respect to infrastructure, Livigo is someone that predominantly give on infrastructure risk. Basically, they work on infrastructure asset risk and they correlate with respect to other phenomena. SATSENS predominantly give on land displacement and they correlate how land displacement affects the particular infrastructure. Astra, they work on very predominantly on pipeline risk. If a pipeline water was get cracked, we can able to get information alert from them. So that is very interesting, right? How pipeline cracks can be found from satellite. They have the model and they are giving it. AI Dash, it is one of the very successful company. They work on utilities, very predominantly on if the power transmission cable is there, how the power transmission cable hits with respect to trees or power transmission cable get affected. So they include climate and physical things to let the organization knows what that's going to happen. So this is a global information on startups that's working on that, and each of these companies can either help you or you can reach to them. And this is what I thought of showing you and mentioning you. Thank you. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Is there any questions?
Yeah, sir, one question came. Can you please repeat the site name to know about the worldwide information?
Sorry.
One question came. Can you please repeat the site name to know about the worldwide information?
Uh,
Yeah, you
so
may check in
that
the
map,
chat box also. There you can get.
the map you are asking on, the map is from 427. It's an startup company. They created with New York Times. I can able to drop that uh, in the chat.
It's a participant. If you have any
Yeah.
question, also you can unmute yourself and ask sir if you have any doubt.
Is it possible? Hello,
Yes.
am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Nice presentation, sir. Sir,
Thank you, sir.
one question. Thing is, what you have shown, that is basically from the Middle East region.
Sorry, sir. Your
Now,
voice is less. Yeah.
hello, can you hear?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Now it's audible.
Okay, sir. Actually, what you have presented, that is basically from the Middle East countries. Now, from Indian perspective, especially as this FDP is focusing on seismic resilience and earthquake resistance. So, is it possible that we can use similar kind of approach for seismic resilient structure based on for earthquake strengthening and all?
Sir, with respect to seismic, I'm not the right person because we worked on some of the things, but with respect to adaptation, we doesn't. But with respect to seismic areas risk, regional specific models are being available. So in India, the regional specific model is being available. That model greatly helps to tell the risk. I'm not sure if it is on risk or adaptation you are asking on. Sir, can you? Yeah. Sir, the question is on risk or on adaptation, sir?
I think the question is on risk.
Okay. So with respect to risk, there is lots of regional specific models being available. So with India itself, regional specific model from Pune Institutes, where Tropical Climate Institute, they have the model. And we can able to get from the regional specific model itself.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you for presentation. If any participant is having any question, I will compile it and get
Sure,
back
sir.
to you, sir. Yeah, sir. One question I'm having, like, as we know, like our participant are mostly, so we have participant around 236, and 98% participants of the faculties, in the engineering colleges and universities. Now, if it will be very helpful for them, so if you could talk about the what would be the research scope, because it is not possible always to do the experimental works and others because of the fund constraint. So if there any research scope can be possible, or is there any from your side, if any assistance would be there, I think they can start a small work. Whoever is all working in this field, they can start their own research work, and that will be helpful for their career also. So if is there any scope from your side, please, if you could have tip.
Sure. We are openly collaborating with lots of academia institution because throughout India there are lots of regional specific model is needed and many people are working on it. we are happy to collaborate with organization. If anybody was interested, they can able to mail to me. My mail ID is kandasamy@thazhal.in. We can able to look for. One of my advisor, he's very much on climate models. He's working in UK, Cambridge. His expertise in climate research. I can able to connect with him too, and we can explore collaboration on that.
Yeah. Sir, one more question came, sir. You showed about the parametric insurance. Is any reference available with respect to the earthquake risk?
I don't think so. Directly with respect to parametric with respect to earthquake, not yet. I don't think so directly, because mostly is on commercial front with respect to, because in India, very predominantly in India, insurance with respect to household, it was not like US, because US was very much on insurance on household. The disruption is very high. For us, it will be like it taken into a static account. If we are going to a bank getting a house loan, they have an insurance for a small percentage for flood, but it will be a static. It's not a dynamic. It is not directly on any of the risk scores. And because of that, with respect to earthquake risk, it is mostly on infrastructures. With respect to insurance, I don't think it directly has. If there is any work that can be done, it will be very helpful.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you for sparing your time, and we'll look forward more of your session. Thank
Thank you
you
so
for
much, sir.
accepting
Thank
our
you, sir.
invitation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.